recording, and it seems like the reception is pretty darn good. So, hello world. This is Arusha from Push, a Cure fan documentary. And I am in New York, but my friend Ruben is at the Hollywood Bowl. Ruben,
Hey everyone.
can we turn around and see you?
Yeah. How's it going?
Oh, it just froze.
Am I still with you?
You are.
Okay. Let's go back here.
Yeah, that's
And,
good.
okay.
So just to give you a little bit of a background, Ruben and I met in 2020, which is now 23 years ago.
Yeah.
Do you want to tell the people at home how we met?
Yeah. So we met on the Dream Tour. Sorry, let me get my hand out of the way. I believe we met on the Dream Tour. We probably met somewhere in Irvine Meadows. I want to say it was either Irvine or LA.
Well, you know what it was? I remember seeing you in San Diego, but I think you were contacting me because you needed a ride. Because
Hmm.
you were following the Cure and you had nothing.
Nothing. No plans. I wasn't old enough to rent a car at the time, so that was out. So it was just like fly to LA and pretty much make it happen. Like any means necessary, figure out how to get to these shows. And everything worked out. Yeah, I met a really good friend, Hernan, who I think you know, and he's also in Push for a hot second. And yeah, we're still really good friends to this day. We're not like in close contact or anything, but that guy, like, pretty much consider him like a brother.
That's so great. And where did you meet Hernan?
I met him in one of the LA shows. I want to say it was Irvine Meadows where I met him, and he had brought this nylon string guitar with him, and he was fumbling with it and playing some Cure songs. And um, I don't know how it happened, but he ended up handing it to me, and I showed him what I knew about the songs, and he seemed like really surprised about, you know, he was just like taken aback, like, whoa, like, and so I taught him a bunch of songs, like, while we were waiting in lines and waiting for the band to come out, that sort of thing.
Yeah, because that's what we used to do back then, right? We because
Yeah.
so you're talking about L.A. at the Greek Theater, maybe, or Irvine, either way. But we would wait for the sound
Mhm.
check. We would wait for the bus to roll in, right?
Yeah, we were there early. I mean, there was nothing else to do but be at the venue, meet up with fans, talk about the set lists or like what you hoped would be played, and just like share stories and just connect. It was definitely a different time. We definitely weren't on our cell phones like we are now, just killing time. It's definitely a different time.
Yeah. So that was you were what, 18 or something?
Yeah, I was around that age, and I think it was my first time flying, and I had a huge fear of flying too, to out to that show to begin with. Um, yeah, I just remember it being like a lot of firsts for me, like my first time traveling on my own, going to shows on my own, that sort of thing. It was interesting time for sure.
And then we ran into each other again, which I have footage, which I hope to use in the big picture of you now and then. And so that was 2016, which I can't was at the Hollywood Bowl, and I can't believe it was 7 years ago.
Yeah.
But you basically said, I'm still here, I'm still doing it. I have a place to live. I have a
Mhm.
kid. I have, like at the house and all the normal things. And so can you talk about that a little bit, like following, your life of now following the Cure.
Yeah. Yeah, like you said, I have a, I guess a responsible person's job now. And I work for a pretty large tech company, and yeah, I kind of along the way of following the cure, I've really concentrated on just personal life and family and my job, and luckily I haven't had to make the decision of like, what do I do? Do I quit my job again and follow the cure? Or I was able to make that balance and that transition, which is great because I'm just able to fly to a show if I want to go and get a concert or get a ticket the day of, and it's definitely a different scenario that I'm in. From the beginning of where I was to now, it's unbelievable to look back, and yeah, I don't think I would have believed myself like that I'd still be doing this, and but be in like a much better, I guess, position to come and hang out and watch these shows.
Yeah, it's great. And so let's turn the camera around and see the Hollywood Bowl for those, because there are people that will be tuning in from other countries eventually, other places, other states.
I don't know if that Zoom is working or not.
It's not working, but it's fine. Can you just describe like where you are, what the weather's like?
Yeah, so luckily I got a ticket, which is technically in the terrace, but it's off to the side of the terrace, so it's section D, as in David. And you can see that this is the terrace right here. There's a bunch of boxes, and usually there's like 4 seats or 6 seats to a box. If you're not familiar with Hollywood Bowl, really nice seats. And then down here, this next section over, we're looking over this little walkway here. That is the garden section. So the garden section is usually where guest list types of people hang out. Last time we were at the Hollywood Bowl, I ran into Tony Hawk. I think I ran into Davey Havoc of AFI, and Lowell was sitting down here in the garden as well. And then just beyond that, if you look at those black seats, like right next to the stage, that's called the pool circle. If you're lucky enough to get a seat there, it's a really amazing seat. Usually, sometimes it's standing room, sometimes it's seating. It just depends on the concert and the artist and how they want it set up.
So you've seen other bands there.
Yeah, I've seen Bell and Sebastian when they had the Philharmonic Orchestra backing them, and it was a great show.
Yeah, and it's interesting that you said that the pool tickets depend on. I mean, the pool area depends on standing or seating depends on the artist, because a lot of fans. What's interesting, Ruben, is a lot of fans from Europe have been asking, why is there all this seated in America? Like everything's seated. And I've been saying that it's not every damn show in America that's seated. It depends on the venue. It depends
Yeah.
on the artist. And, maybe The Cure, and I don't know, but maybe The Cure decided to do a lot of seated so they could charge more for the very front and make up for the super cheap seats in the way back.
Yeah, I think there's a give and take, right, for ticket pricing, and I think also I've been to quite a lot of shows this year, and I've noticed that seats are more in favor of standing room for some reason, and I don't know if that has to do with like crowd control and COVID and security resources, right? Like, in my opinion, like those 2 San Diego shows, those seats allowed for security up front to be in a more relaxed environment than they normally would be if it was standing room only and people were rushing to get to the front, right? I saw in San Diego, I want to say I saw about eight different ushers in the area smiling, kind of dancing to the music and just loving life, because there wasn't a lot of issues or crowd control that they had to do with the seats. So I think that's also part of it too.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think, unfortunately, since we're a country where people get shot every single day now, I think unfortunately it's a really serious consideration, you know?
Yeah, yeah, it's a different world, that's for sure.
It's so different. Even looking back at the footage I have of the Hollywood Bowl in 2013, and which was, when you're an adult, 7 years is like a blink of an eye.
Oh yeah.
But it was such a different world. So somebody's asking, "Oh my God, I'm so excited! I wish I was there. Would you share the entire concert?" No,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Yeah, I don't think I have the capacity to stream a whole event. I maybe one day I will do it. Probably not at this show. The Hollywood Bowl shows for me are just like really special. I like to try to engage in the show as much as possible, and that means like trying to take as little video or photos as possible with my phone. And it's a really good people watching show. Like I don't know. I'm one of those people that do like to look around for celebrities and see how many I see. So that's like all part of it for me. But yeah, I wish I could. I wish I had the steady hand and the equipment to do it. And I do envy the people that put those shows out. I don't know how they do it. They have a lot of stamina and a lot of focus and concentration, and I'm definitely not that kind of person.
Well, I can tell you, as somebody who's had a camera in her hand for 25 years, it's very hard. It's a lot of work, and it completely takes you out of the moment.
Yeah.
And so, even though it's great when people live stream, you're focusing on like, where's the light? Where's the
Yeah.
focus? Who should I focus? Should I go wide? Should I go close? So, for the people that were asking, I do think there are going to be people live streaming tonight. I think maybe there's a Five Swing Live guy, gal,
Yeah.
something on Twitter. I think they might do it. And it is exciting, but at the same time, there's also so much you can get online now afterwards.
Yeah. Yeah, the Five Swing Live I just found out about. I don't know. I've been living under a rock, but yeah, they're really consistent with what they're doing and what they're live streaming. And yeah, I would definitely suggest that live stream.
Wait, hold up. We just saw. What are these plates going by? What are these hors d'oeuvres going by? What's that?
So when you sit in one of these boxes, usually you get assigned like a waiter of some sort, and they come and they take your order. They'll take a food order, a drink order. It's a really cool venue. It's very unique. Not many venues like this anymore.
Yeah, it's not. Can you show the back again, just to get
Sure.
a perspective of,
Yeah.
So
So
look at those
it goes.
seats, those benches. I mean that is very unique, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So there's benches here, and then the next section over is where all the boxes, or some people call them stables, start. And then beyond that, it's all benches from this section. Once you get to the next section, it's all benches from that point on. And it's quite it's a large venue, right? Like it goes on for days.
Yeah, somebody else was saying that they actually don't like going to see shows there because the seating it's actually very hard to get a good seat.
It is.
Because it kind of goes all the way up and back, but there's not a lot of side viewers in other areas, other venues. Like I don't really like Madison Square Garden. I mean, people go on about it, but I do have to say it is designed very well. Even though it's huge, it is designed for the viewer in mind at a show that big of a capacity.
Right. Yeah. No. I agree. I don't know. I tend to gravitate towards indoor venues as well. I think I just feel like it's a little bit. I don't know. Maybe there's more engagement and energy to be trapped, in the venue, and so yeah, it's one of those things. But this venue is really hard to beat. Like the weather is perfect. It's overcast, but I want to say it's close to 70 degrees right now. And yeah, so the weather's been like this at every California show, actually. In San Diego, it even misted the whole night. like a very light, rainy, misty, foggy kind of situation that really added to the show. Actually, my friend was joking that it added to the whole mystique of the show. We were just kind of laughing about it because who would have thought that San Diego it would have even sprinkled like that?
Right, right. And speaking of atmosphere and shows, so I have two last questions for you, Ruben, and I think let's turn the camera back on yourself.
Sure.
And I'm gonna. My two questions are: number one, how many more shows are you going to? And then two, let's talk about like set lists and songs. I know we've, and
Mm-hmm.
you want to move the camera a little bit so that we see your face. Can you tilt your camera that way? Yeah,
Oh,
not
it's
that.
opposite. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
this way.
it's
Okay.
confusing, but so are you? Have you been paying attention to the set list? Do you care
Yeah.
what songs you hear?
Honestly, at this point, I've been to I don't know. I checked Setlist FM and it tells me I've been to 70 Cure concerts. I don't know if that how accurate that is. It's pretty close. I used to care a lot about the set list and like that's why I would go to so many shows just to see if they'd break something out. I don't really care that much anymore. I just want to see the Cure. I want to see the band. There's kind of this theme that the Twilight Sad has right now, where the lead singer um, tends to say a lot that he doesn't take the opportunity for granted of being out on tour and supporting the Cure. And I'm in the same mindset where like I'm not going to take it for granted. I'm not going to be picky or complain about what gets played every night. Yeah, there are songs that I want to hear. I think it's great that they're now a 6-piece. There's options to play more songs now for that reason. We've seen Cold in the set for that reason because it requires 2 keyboards. Charlotte sometimes sounds I think better with Perry in the band with whatever he's doing, whether he's on the guitar or on the keyboard. And yeah, I'm just taking it moment by moment. I'm not really obsessing about the granular details. I'm just trying to be grateful, that I'm there, and who knows how long, the Cure is going to go on for. At this point, I think we're all kind of getting a little bit older, right? And
Just a little bit.
it's one of those things, right? But I will say that, like, the LA shows, the 3 shows, when you do go to them, you'll get everything, right? Like, that's what's cool about 3 shows back to back. You'll hear everything that they have to offer. You won't miss a song as they go through the whole tour. And I remember last time they were here, they played Piggy in the Mirror, which usually requires 2 keyboards. So that's my guess, is like maybe I get to hear that one of these nights, and yeah, I'll be happy.
Yeah, so I sat side view, and I've only been to 4 shows so far. I wish I could go to all of them, but one of them I was on the side, so I could see the keys, and I could see that Perry's doing a lot of the string work while Roger's doing the piano, like on
Mm-hmm.
1,000 Hours. Um, and I noticed, like in the European shows, somebody said, "Why does Perry leave the stage and come back from the edge of the deep
Yeah.
green sea?" And I said, "Well, because he doesn't need to be there. I don't know. Maybe they made a plan. I have no idea." But he comes back and he just plays a very, 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 very subtle, tiny little part. And it's very subtle, but if you're listening for all of it, you
Mm-hmm.
could hear it.
I
And
agree.
and quite frankly, another friend of mine, talked about the emphasis that this is art that we're watching. Well, this is art that we're taking in. It doesn't matter if somebody on stage is playing a goddamn triangle, or like standing like Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds they'd have sometimes 8 people on, and one person would just stand there for half the time or leave the
Yeah.
stage. It's not our decision as fans of what happens when and where. I mean, this band has been a 2-piece, 3-piece, 4-piece, 5-piece, 6-piece, and I think I'm on board with you. I'm just happy to be there, and I don't know. Like when I met you, if if you would have told me that we would be talking 23 years later, be like, what? What do you mean? Like at the store?
At the store. Yeah, I remember one time I ran into you on Haight Street. I was running into Amoeba Records probably to go buy some Cure stuff, and I ran into you on the way in there. And I think that was when you lived in San Francisco at the time. And I thought, how cool, like, we're this is a small knit community. There's a lot of people I see all the time. Like I just saw a few people walk by. I'm like, yeah, I've seen them at probably 30 shows that I've been to, and it's really cool to see people and connect. And it's weird, like because of COVID, like we haven't really had that opportunity, or at least I haven't. I've just been working remotely in my own bubble, and it's kind of nice to just get out and talk to people that are like-minded, that share the same interests. And the whole Perry comment, like he belongs in the band, like regardless of what he does. I don't care if what he plays on each song. I think he adds to it, and he's more than capable skill wise. He used to be the lead guitarist in this band, and for good reason, right? So like I definitely trust who's on stage right now for sure.
Yeah, and it's even like cooler to see, Reeves and Perry working together. I mean, I've seen
Mm,
them, on stage like laughing and talking, seemingly to be talking about things. And so I hope that all Cure fans can just have that mindset of, of gratitude that we're all
yeah.
still here doing it while we're all still here doing it.
Yeah, lucky us to see Perry back in the band as a six piece, the band playing 1,000 hours, which I thought I'd never see. Even though they shorten it, I'll take it, right? Like I could easily complain that 1,000 hours needs its full 7 to 8 minutes, and they're only giving it 4, right? I could easily get on Reddit or whatever and say, I think that's wrong. I think they need to play the whole thing, and et cetera, et cetera. But it's like, no, I'll take it. I'll take whatever I can get at this point from the band. They've given us enough.
So what's your last show on this tour?
Um, it's going to be in Minneapolis, I believe, or the Twin Cities. I'm going to that show because I got a decent ticket, which was great, and I love the city. It's one of my favorite cities to visit. I've always said if I ever win the lottery, I'm going to buy a summer home in the Twin Cities. But yeah, I just want to see them there. There's a lot of musical history in that city. For other reasons, like most notably Prince, who I actually really love Prince as well. But yeah, I definitely want to see a show there.
Great. Well, I'll be in touch with you about my next project, which is touring music, like doing some music documenting of cities. But let's flip back one more time
Yeah.
to the Hollywood Bowl, and then we will sign off. Here it is. We're
So
about
yeah,
we're about 30 minutes from the Twilight Sad, and unfortunately, I am not going to torture Ruben and keep him. He's not going to be live streaming. Everybody, people will live stream. Don't worry.
oh yeah, there'll be plenty of live streams. I'll probably take some photos and upload them to various Facebook groups as well, like I usually do. Um, and yeah, I mean, whoever's coming to the show, I hope you enjoy it, and I hope it's everything you wished it was, right? Like, I mean, at the end of the day, it's really what it's about, whether you're here or you're not. You know, just enjoy it.
Yeah, thank you for bringing us to the bowl. It does these little. It helps me. I'm sitting here in Brooklyn, and I'm like, oh yeah, there's the Hollywood Bowl. I'm in Hollywood again. So
Right?
I'll look forward to your reports afterwards, and send me photos. Let's sign off. Have a great show, Ruben.
All right. Thanks, Arusha. Talk to you all later.
Okay, bye bye.